The NRA's attempt at filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy in order to free themselves from the lawsuits in New York and then move to Texas are at risk for a couple different reasons. And one of them is surrounding Wayne LaPierre. Sit by and watch this episode of Guns and Gadgets if you want to learn more. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. Before I jump into the NRA issues continued, I want to thank Blackout Coffee for being a huge sponsor and backer of this channel. Even when the cancel culture is real, Blackout Coffee is even more real. They are having a Valentine's Day sale. You can save 15% off any coffee using code Valentine15. And while you're at it, check out this new flavor created for Valentine's Day. It's chocolate almond jalapeno. I have tried it. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. If you're into flavored coffees, if you're into a little bit of a spice, this is pretty cool. If you're not into coffee, they have you covered as well. Blackout Coffee has hot chocolates, and they also have tea. So check them out. You can use the link down below. It's blackoutcoffee.com/GNG, and code Valentine15 will save you 15% for Valentine's Day. Now let's get back to the NRA. The NRA filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in order to leave New York and move to Texas in part of a restructuring. And in doing so, they thought that they were going to no longer be liable for those lawsuits lodged against them by the New York State Attorney General. However, that's at risk now. Now, the first set of issues that Wayne and company have to worry about were brought up by a law professor. I'll have a link down below, but he brings out things like venue. And what does venue have to do with it? Well, venue, when it comes to courts and jurisdiction, is you file a lawsuit in the venue, which means the court that has control of your territory, basically. So think of it this way. If you're arrested in Boston, Massachusetts, you don't go to court in Los Angeles, right? You go to court in Boston because Boston courts that's their venue, that's their jurisdiction. So the NRA is in New York. That's where they started their career, in New York. And the interesting thing is that they filed bankruptcy in Dallas, Texas. So that's a venue issue. The bankruptcy courts in Dallas don't have jurisdiction over what happens in New York. So that's something that they have to work out. There are other ways to get around that. However, I'll let you read that article for more information. Another problem that Wayne and co. are going to have is that one of their biggest donors, the NRA's biggest donors, is going to file suit to stop this Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, this gentleman's name is David Del Aquila. Sorry if I butchered his name, but he's going to be filing a lawsuit to stop the proceedings in an attempt to hold NRA executives accountable for the alleged defrauding of the members of millions of dollars to support their lavish lifestyles. We've already heard the allegations from the New York Attorney General. I covered that a lot. I'll actually have a couple links floating above throughout this video. But this isn't the first lawsuit that Mr. Del Aquila has filed to hold, or in an attempt to hold, Wayne LaPierre particularly accountable. Now, the same gentleman runs the website called retirelapierre.com, and his first lawsuit was in 2019 and came right after the NRA launched a countersuit against the Attorney General in New York. This was a class action lawsuit that alleged many of the same violations that the Attorney General of New York alleged. And what he said in part of this first lawsuit was that he donated $100,000 in an attempt to help the NRA further their promotion of hunting and fishing and shooting safety, along with wildlife conservation. But what he found out was most of that money went to Wayne's lavish lifestyles, according to reports. Now, that class action lawsuit from 2019 alleges other things, such as over $264,000 for lavish travel expenses by LaPierre and over $274,000 for clothing, most of which we have heard. But what he plans on doing next is an attempt to stop Wayne LaPierre and the NRA from leaving New York and thus getting out of some of those lawsuits that were seeking to hold the NRA executives accountable for their misdeeds. Now, this new complaint that Del Aquila will be filing, in his words, in the next couple of weeks, would use a provision in bankruptcy code to prevent the NRA from sidestepping the more than $60 million of debt on grounds that it was improperly incurred. Now, bankruptcy law stipulates that debts acquired through malfeasance can be deemed by the court to be an exception to bankruptcy arrangements. Now, what does that mean in common speak? Well, if it is proven that you have incurred debt because of wrongdoings, then if the bankruptcy goes through, you're not exempt from those debts. You're still held liable for those. Now, Dell'Aquila, who is a Pittsburgh native, now lives in Tennessee. He had a good quote on this, and that said, "We intend to invoke this provision. We are going to ask the judge to determine that our claim was incurred as a result of fraud and should be deemed non-dischargeable." So he's looking to hold Wayne and company accountable for his first lawsuit, thus fighting this bankruptcy. Because if Wayne gets this bankruptcy and everything's discharged, then his case goes as well. Now, Dell'Aquila's first lawsuit from 2019, that class action suit, has been put on hold as a result of the NRA filing Chapter 11. And he also said this, "Nothing has changed with Wayne as leader over the past 30 years. The NRA is still an old boys club making deals in the back room and unaccountable to the 5.2 million members who pay for everything. It has got to stop." New York Attorney General Letitia James also had a comment in response to the NRA's Chapter 11 filing. She said, "We will not allow the NRA to use this or any other tactic to evade accountability in my office's oversight." So there's a lot going on around the NRA's attempt to file a bankruptcy in order to restructure and move to Texas. And if Wayne LaPierre can't find a judge to side with him, the NRA's in some trouble. So like I said, I'll have a couple links floating above from the Attorney General's attack on the NRA, as well as the NRA's filing the Chapter 11. Look at those if you haven't seen them, and let me know what you think down below. Is this a legitimate move to try to restructure and do the right thing and fight for the Second Amendment? Or is this a way for Wayne and the crew to try to get away from paying the money that is alleged to have been garnered and spent in ways that shouldn't have? Let me know down below. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. And if you are into Second Amendment news, you have found your home, guys and gals. Please check out Guns and Gadgets on a regular basis, and you can do that by subscribing to the channel. This is where you're going to find all of the information on the Second Amendment, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, no matter where it happens, right here on this channel. You could also do me a solid by hitting the thumbs up and sharing this with about 7.62 thousand of your friends as to help get the news out, because the shadow ban that was real has gotten ridiculous, and you all know what I mean. So thank you for all of your help. Thank you for your time. Until we see each other again, please be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.